Hey everyone, Jake here. This is my 1,000 round review of the Wilson Clash 100 V2. Today I will go over the power, spin, control, comfort, and price of this racket. My goal is to help other people find a racket that best suits them. The structure I follow to test these rackets is hitting at least 1,000 tennis balls. If you want to pause the video right here, this is how the structure is broken down. Why I do this is for two reasons. One, to test the comfort level of the racket. How does my arm feel after hitting at least 1,000 tennis balls? And number two, to get over the hump of using a racket I'm not used to. Now for this Wilson Clash V2, I actually am used to this racket because I played with it for about a year, almost a year and a half. So I have a soft spot for the Clash V2. All right, well, let's go over the specs of this Wilson Clash 100 V2. The weight is 10.4 ounces. It is 10 points head light. The head size is 100 square inches. The string pattern is 16 by 19, and the recommended tension is 50 to 60 pounds. Now this particular racket is a racket I played with for about a year. That's why it's a little bit beat up. But now it is my wife's racket. With that said, the current tension of this racket is 54 pounds, and it's strung with synthetic gut in the crosses and multi-filament in the main. So it's a very, very comfy racket. My wife loves the feeling of how soft this racket is because she could play with this all day and it doesn't hurt her arms or hands whatsoever. The only downside is the power. So let's get into that. Number one, power. Power on this racket is really low. You have to generate a good amount of your own pace and power to get use out of this racket. Right out the gate, with forehands and backhands, I could tell my shots were pretty low in the court. A lot of them were ending up in the service box, not so much in the deeper part of the court. 16. Though once I started giving it more oomph, I was able to get it deeper into the court. I was able to use Swing Vision to review this racket, and I did the same thing for the Yonex E-Zone 100. I've only used the app a handful of times, so I'm still getting used to how it works. But from what I can tell from a visual perspective is that with the Yonex E-Zone 100, which I was saying how much free power that racket gets, you can see in the heat map on Swing Vision that a lot of the shots were going long. And that's a good indicator that there's a lot of power coming from the racket in comparison to the Clash V2, where a lot of the shots are actually inside the court and not too many of them went long. Now in this heat map, I think there was a little bit of a glitch when I set it up because I remember a lot of the shots falling inside the service box, and right now there's no shots like in the service box. But trust me, there was quite a few shots landing inside the service box on the ground strokes. Side note on the tension, this is strung at 54 pounds, but it feels like it's at 48 pounds or even lower. Because of the technology within this racket, it really absorbs the ball. So any kind of pace you're going to put on the ball, it takes away a lot of that. So you have to give it even more so that the ball goes where you want it to go. Now, when I was playing with this racket back a couple years ago, I strung the tension all the way up to 60 pounds. Really, really high tension, but I could tell when I was playing against more of those 4.0, 4.5 level guys, they would just plow the ball right through me, and I would give it everything I got to try to throw the ball back at them, but it would just die halfway into the court because this racket does too good of a job absorbing the impact of the ball upon contact. So what I did to kind of counterbalance that, I put a bunch of lead tape in the hoop, in the throat, and even in the handle. So the swing weight got a lot heavier. So that was a little hack I had for this guy. This racket saved my arm after I had the Pro Staff incident. Okay, side tangent. Kind of the whole reason why I'm doing these reviews is because I didn't really know the difference between rackets. I just kind of went off of looks. And I got the Federer Pro Staff, but what I did was I shaved off a bunch of the wood in the handle to make it fit my grip. So all the weight was basically in the very tip of the racket, and it destroyed my forearm and my shoulder. I switched to this guy halfway through the season, and it got me through the season, and I was actually able to win a lot of matches with this racket. It allowed my arm to heal while able to still play tennis. So that's why this racket I have a really soft spot for. So yes, it lacks in power, but if you're looking for something where you're injured, but you still want to get reps in for tennis, this is a great, great option for that. Number two, spin. Now this is a 100 square inch head racket, so I was able to generate a good amount of spin with my shots, especially when I switched over to more of a heavy topspin grip. I was able to really get that ball to arc and come back into the court, and that was a lot of fun to hit. Hitting flatter shots was a little harder with this racket because the stability is pretty wobbly because of all that flex and bow in the racket. So when it came to serves, the kick serves performed really well with this racket. Flathead serves a little tougher because you had to give it all you got to get it inside the court.
Oh, geez. Okay. There it is. There it is. Ooh.
I was having a hard time generating enough power on my serves, but when it came to spin, I was able to generate a good amount of spin with this racket. Number 3, control. Control of this racket is okay. It is a 100 square inch head, so there's a 98 version of this, which I would imagine would have a little more control. I could really tell with the down the line shots that the control was lacking.
54. 35. 2. 4. 7. 30. 45. 45.
This felt like had a lot more room for error. On the ground strokes, I did do some of the one-hander because people have been asking to do a one-hander in these reviews. And I would not suggest this racket for a one-hander. The stability is lacking so much that I could tell that plow through that you need when doing a one-hander is just not there. In comparison to say like the Blade 98, which I did like a soft test in one of my going for gold videos. And I could tell that plow through really helps with the one-handed backhand shots. Number 4, comfort. Now, this is the highlight of this racket, is the comfort. The comfort is through the roof. By the time I got to slices, I could tell that the racket had a really nice touch to it.
So yeah, as I expected, this is really, really comfy. The touch feels really good on it. If you're trying not to wail on it, you're just trying to give it a little touch. It feels pretty decent, but if the ball is heavy at all, then you get pushed around the court a lot, I feel like. But if you got some nice, easy balls coming your way and you go for a slice, yeah, it feels really good.
The volleys, on the other hand, not my favorite thing to do with this racket. The stability, like I said, for the millionth time, is lacking, so it doesn't have that pop. The ball really feels like it pushes you around. You don't push the ball around. And that's the thing I don't really like about this racket.
So as far as volleys go, it's not my favorite, but it gets the job done. Like, it feels like the ball is pushing me back quite a bit. Like, instead of me punching the ball, I'm getting punched by the ball. So stability is pretty rough on this racket, but you can make it work.
I remember at the racket shop when I was first looking at this racket, I don't know how true this is or not, but the shop guy there said that the pros that were testing out this racket were actually snapping this racket in half because, as we know, the pros hit really freaking hard, and this racket has so much bow and flex into it that with the type of power that they're hitting with, they're just snapping these rackets in half. Or so I've heard. I did take a slow-mo video at 240 frames a second, and you can see a bit of the wobble and the flex in the racket, and I'm hitting at 100%. So I'm trying to hit a forehand with all I've got, and you can really see the flex in the bow in the racket itself. Even on the one-hander backhand, you can see the instability that the racket has. Number 5, price. Right now, the price on this racket is incredible. It's been marked down in a couple places, and you can find this racket for about 150 bucks, which is a steal when it comes to rackets. For my previous video, I actually took a little bit of data from you guys actually of how much you would spend on a racket, and the middle of the road price is $220. So with this racket being at $150, that's a really, really good price you can get for a racket. In conclusion, I would suggest this racket to beginner and intermediate players. The comfort's through the roof. You can get this racket at a really good price. Let me know in the comments what racket you want me to review next. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.